Welcome, you incredible learners, to Chat Like a Native. We're so glad you're joining us for another deep dive. We're diving into a challenge that, well, surprisingly, even quite advanced language learners run into. Have you ever had that moment? You're reading something complex, maybe following a really fast conversation, perhaps even enjoying a film without subtitles, but then, boom, it's your turn to speak. And there's just that split second, that tiny little hiccup where your brain feels like it's still mentally translating, like it's building sentences word by word. It's that invisible barrier between knowing English and really, truly living it,
Mhm.
spontaneously.
Precisely. That slight delay, that sort of mental stopover for translation, it's such a common frustration. It really is the difference between, say, high-level understanding and truly natural automatic speaking. So today, we're not just giving you a tip. We're actually looking at a scientifically backed technique. It's called micro-stories.
Yeah.
And these aren't just little daydreams. They're like powerful neural pathways you can actually build daily. By the end of this deep dive, you'll get not just the why they work, but you'll also have 5 really dynamic, ready-to-use scenarios. They're designed specifically to help bridge that gap. We're talking about moving from just understanding things analytically to having intuitive, fluid conversations. Get ready for some really impactful aha moments that could genuinely shift how you approach speaking English.
Okay, let's unpack this then. That feeling of being like a step behind your own thoughts. It's just so incredibly common, isn't it? You can take in so much English passively reading, listening, watching, it all goes in. But when the spotlight's on you to actually produce it, to get your own ideas out, it's like your brain suddenly switches gears into this, I don't know, slow motion assembly line. You're consciously grabbing for words, trying to slot them into grammar rules, and that micro hesitation, that feeling of constructing instead of just expressing, it can be really frustrating. It's the hurdle, I think, that separates just good English from truly naturally flowing English.
It absolutely is. And that specific feeling, that's exactly what microstories are engineered to tackle. So instead of your brain needing to translate concepts from your first language or, painstakingly piece sentences together from some mental dictionary, these short, really vivid scenes which you practice in your mind and, importantly, aloud, they're designed to create direct links. They build what you could call neural shortcuts.
Yeah.
Think about it. You visualize a situation, and the right English words and phrases don't just show up after a delay. They become almost an automatic response. It's really about building up a language intuition that sort of bypasses that conscious, effortful mental block.
That sounds, well, it sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But you're saying there's more to it. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because microstories aren't just some clever gimmick. They're actually a pretty sophisticated mix of 3 powerful, well-researched learning strategies. It's like a carefully designed linguistic workout, almost a triple threat for language acquisition. What makes them so effective?
That's a great question. And yeah, this is where the science really backs it up. The first strategy involved is chunking. Now, many listeners who are familiar with cognitive psychology might know this one. Did you know that our working memory, that's the part of our brain actively juggling information, can typically only hold about 7 plus or minus 2 separate pieces of information at any one time?
7 pieces.
Yeah,
That's not very much at all when you're trying to build a sentence on the spot.
exactly. So if you try to construct, say, I would dot like to dot order dot a coffee, well, you're potentially loading your working memory with 6 or 7 individual words. But if you learn, can I get a coffee, as one single chunk, like a prepackaged phrase, you're cutting that cognitive load down to just one item. It's like switching from typing out every single letter to just using a keyboard shortcut. Your brain becomes way more efficient. It allows for much faster, almost instinctual communication.
Wow, that really puts it into perspective how much mental energy we save. It explains why certain phrases just seem to roll off the tongue for native speakers, doesn't it?
Precisely. And the second strategy is lexical learning. This focuses on picking up vocabulary in context. So instead of the old school method of just memorizing words from lists, you're using words and phrases that are embedded in meaningful, sort of multi-sensory situations. Research clearly shows our brains form much stronger neural connections when information is tied to vivid experiences, emotions, even actions. So when you associate latte, not just with the word, but with the visual of a barista, maybe the smell of coffee, the act of ordering, you create a much richer memory trace. That word isn't just floating around abstractly. It actually lives inside a vivid, easy-to-recall scenario.
So it's not just knowing the definition of croissant, but remembering the feeling, the context of ordering one in a specific cafe. Almost like a mini memory palace just for language.
You've got it exactly. It makes recalling it much smoother because the word has a kind of natural home in your mind. And the third ingredient, which is maybe the most critical one that really makes everything stick, is everyday repetition. Think of your brain like a landscape with lots of potential paths. New experiences might create faint trails, but daily, consistent repetition. That's like paving those trails, turning them into superhighways. This process is deeply connected to neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself. Every time you revisit a microstory, you're strengthening those neural connections. You're essentially myelating the linguistic pathways.
Myelating, so kind of like wrapping insulation around an electrical wire to make the signal travel faster and stronger.
That's an excellent analogy. Yes, that's exactly it. Myelin helps speed up neural impulses. So this consistent daily practice isn't just about memorization in the old sense. It's about physically optimizing your brain for quicker, more automatic responses. By combining this neuroplasticity-driven repetition with chunking and lexical learning, microstories significantly cut down on that hesitation we were talking about. They make your English feel much more natural, and crucially, they train you for faster, more instinctive responses in real-life chats. You're essentially building an almost reflexive link between a situation and the language you need for it.
That's fascinating. Understanding the cognitive stuff underneath really makes this feel like more than just a simple tip. But okay, just knowing why microstories work, that's not quite enough, is it? What are the practical steps? The real nuts and bolts for making them actually work for our listeners. How do we make sure they're not just, well, passively listening to us talk about examples?
That's a crucial point. It's all about active engagement. First, you absolutely need to visualize the scene clearly. Don't just skim over the words. Really use your imagination. Create a vivid mental movie. Are you in a noisy cafe smelling roasted beans? Or maybe a quiet park hearing birds? Who's there? What are they wearing? The more sensory details you can bring in, sounds, smells, even feelings, the stronger that memory connection will be. It makes it easier for your brain to link the context to the language.
Okay, so if I'm practicing ordering coffee, I should actually, picture the steam coming off the machine, hear the cups clinking, maybe even imagine the warmth of the mug. Every detail helps.
Absolutely. Immerse yourself in it. Second, and this one is really non-negotiable, speak or whisper the lines aloud. Don't just think them silently in your head. Your mouth, your tongue, your vocal cords, they all have muscle memory too. Using your voice, even if it's just a whisper, trains your pronunciation muscles and your ears. You're giving your brain both physical and auditory feedback, which cements those language pathways much more effectively than just silent thought ever could.
Right, that makes total sense for building that physical muscle memory for speech. Okay, third point, frequency. For someone with a really packed schedule, how do we make sure this doesn't just become another thing on the to-do list to feel guilty about not doing? Is there a psychological trick to actually sticking with it?
That's an excellent question. Very practical. The key here is repeat daily, but keep it consistently small.
Sure.
Consistency really beats intensity here. Even just 2 minutes a day, but every day, will give you much better, more lasting results than, say, one long, hour-long session once a week. We're talking about building a tiny habit, a little linguistic ritual, and the psychological trick is just to lower the barrier so much it's almost effortless. 2 minutes feels manageable, it feels achievable, it's not intimidating, and those small, easy wins build momentum.
2 minutes. That's genuinely something almost anyone could squeeze into their day. Wow.
It really is. And it's surprisingly powerful over time. Fourth, adapt the stories to your life. Personalization is a massive boost for motivation and memory. Use your own name in the story. Imagine a cafe you actually go to, or weave in details that are relevant to your daily routines. This makes the scenarios feel real, immediately useful, and that deepens your emotional and cognitive connection to the language you're practicing. And finally, maybe most importantly, accept mistakes. Let's be really clear here. Perfection isn't the aim. Fluency and comfort are the goals. Every time you stumble, forget a word, make a grammar slip, it's not failure. It's just part of the learning process. It's feedback, really. A signpost showing where you might need a bit more practice. You need to embrace them as data points, not as reasons to stop.
That's such a crucial mindset shift, isn't it? Okay, you definitely sold me on the why and the how. Now for the fun part. Let's dive into 5 practical, really relatable scenes people can start practicing, like right away. These are designed to build confidence in those common, everyday situations, making English feel much more approachable, almost intuitive.
Let's do it. Okay. Scene number 1, ordering coffee at a cafe. So picture this. You're walking into your favorite local coffee shop. Maybe it's a bit chilly outside. You see the barista, let's call her Chloe, smiling behind the counter. You know what you want. You can sell the coffee, hear the machine, and you start.
As customer, hi, Chloe. Morning. Can I get a medium latte, please?
As barista, morning? Sure thing. Anything else for you today?
As customer, yeah, actually, I'll grab one of those almond croissants too, please.
As barista, good choice. They're fresh this morning. That'll be $5.25 then.
As customer, getting card out, great. Here you go. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so this short exchange is packed with useful chunks like, can I get? Shaw. Anything else?
Okay, dang.
Right, that'll be truff plus common politeness markers. The idea is to practice it until you can say it smoothly, almost without thinking. Then start tweaking it. Maybe next time you order tea instead. Or perhaps you're with a friend and ordering for two. Or maybe the barista asks for here or to go. Shaw. You just swap in the new details and practice those variations.
Right. And you could even practice the internal thought process like, I wonder if they have oat milk today, even if you don't actually say it out loud.
Exactly. Adding that internal monologue is a great way to practice self-talk.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, scene 2. Meeting a friend after work. Imagine you've just finished work, you're feeling a bit tired, maybe stressed, but then you see your friend, let's say it's David, waiting outside the building. You give a wave, walk over.
As self, hey, David, how was your day? Phew, mine was kind of a marathon.
Oh, Fee. Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Just, super busy. How about yours, really?
As self, honestly, same here. I swear I had about 1 million emails to get through. My eyes feel strained.
As friend. Ugh, tell me about it. Listen, are you feeling like grabbing some dinner? I'm absolutely starving.
As self, you read my mind. Yeah, definitely. Let's go. I know a nice little Italian place just around the corner.
So this micro story uses all those everyday conversational building blocks, greetings, small talk about the day, making spontaneous plans. Phrases like, how was your day? Oh, pretty good. Tell me about it. And A, do you want to, or are you feeling like? These are absolutely fundamental for social interaction. You'll use variations of these constantly.
Definitely. Okay, third scenario, something I think many of us have experienced, especially when traveling, asking for directions. Imagine you're on holiday, maybe in a charming but totally unfamiliar city. You're feeling a little lost, trying to find the main train station. You see someone who looks like a local, seems friendly, and you decide to ask.
As self, excuse me, sorry to bother you, but I'm a little turned around. Could you possibly tell me how to get to the main train station from here?
As local, oh sure, no problem. Just go straight ahead down this street, then take the first left when you get to the traffic lights up there.
As self, okay, straight, then first left at the lights. Got it. Thank you so much. Is it quite far to walk?
As a local, no, not far at all, really. It's about a 10-minute walk, maybe 15 if you take your time.
As self, oh great, that's perfect then. Thanks again for your help. I really appreciate it. This scene is fantastic for building confidence in those potentially awkward moments where you need quick, clear, polite English. You're practicing essential question structures like, could you possibly tell me, or could you help me with he, and also those vital follow-up checks like, is it far, or how long does it take? These are incredibly useful for navigating new places and handling that feeling of uncertainty smoothly.
Definitely useful. Okay, number 4, shopping at the supermarket. This is almost a daily thing for lots of people, right? Those mundane but necessary transactions. So you're at the checkout, maybe it's a self-service machine or a cashier, you've got your basket or trolley full, and the interaction starts.
As cashier machine prompt, is that everything for you today? Did you need a bag?
As self, yes, that's all, thanks, and yes, please, just one bag.
As cashier machine prompt,
Okay.
your total comes to $22.55.
As self, getting, well, okay, great. Can I pay by card?
As cashier machine prompt, of course. Just tap or insert your card whenever you're ready.
As self, paying. There we go. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Right. Shopping is just unavoidable, isn't it? So this story gives you useful money vocabulary, those standard polite phrases for transactions, and practice in clear communication. And it's super easy to adapt. Different items, different prices, maybe a problem with payment, like the card being declined or asking where something is. It just helps make those quick, everyday interactions feel less stressful.
Yeah, absolutely. And for our 5th scenario, this is one that can sometimes feel a bit more intimidating, I think, for non-native speakers, maybe because the stakes feel a bit higher. At the doctor's office, picture yourself sitting in the waiting room, maybe feeling a bit unwell. The nurse calls your name, you go into the consulting room.
As doctor, good morning. Please take a seat. So tell me, what seems to be the problem today?
As self, good morning, doctor. Well, I've had this persistent headache for about 3 days now, and I'm feeling really quite tired.
As doctor, I see. And have you taken anything for it? Any over-the-counter medicine?
As self. Yes, I tried taking some paracetamol yesterday, but honestly, it didn't really seem to help much.
As doctor, okay, understood. Well, let me just examine you quickly, and then I think perhaps we'll start with a prescription for something a bit stronger and maybe run a quick blood test just to be sure.
Mm.
This story is so good for preparing for those potentially quite stressful medical situations. Practicing that essential vocabulary words for symptoms like headache or fatigue, medicine, prescription, it helps you stay calmer and communicate much more clearly when it really counts. It's about feeling empowered in those important moments where getting the language right is really vital for your health.
Okay, so understanding these core micro stories and, the cognitive science behind why they work, that's a fantastic starting point. But what does this all really mean for taking your fluency to the next level? Once you're feeling comfortable with these basic scenes, how can you really leverage micro stories to deepen your English and genuinely start to, well, think like a native?
All right, this is where you move beyond just the basic practice and start really integrating it. First, change roles. Don't always be the customer or the patient. Try practicing being the barista or the cashier or even the doctor. This forces you to think about and practice hearing and responding naturally, but from the other side of the conversation. It's like training for both sending and receiving in a conversation, which significantly boosts both your receptive and your productive skills.
That's a really great idea. So when we switch roles like that, what's happening cognitively? Are we just building memory for different phrases, or is there something deeper like understanding the flow better?
It's definitely both. You're absolutely building memory for the new phrases linked to that role, yes.
Hmm.
But you're also developing a much more intuitive feel for conversational turn-taking, expectations, and flow. It makes you a more agile communicator overall. Second, add details. Start layering things in. Mention the weather, how you're feeling, maybe extra objects. So instead of just, can I get a latte?
Mm.
You could practice saying, wow, it's absolutely pouring outside today, so could I get an extra hot latte, please? And maybe one of those cookies. These little additions make the scenes richer, a bit more complex, and they force you to actively stretch your vocabulary in a really relevant way.
I love that. It adds realism and makes you think on your feet more, even if it's just practice in your head. It's like playing a little game of linguistic improvisation.
It's exactly right. Third, connect the stories. Don't keep them completely separate in your mind. Try linking one scene into another. Maybe after you meet your friend, you both decide to pop into the supermarket together. Or perhaps you grab a coffee before going to your doctor's appointment. This helps you build longer, more complex internal narratives, integrating more vocabulary and practicing those natural transitions between different kinds of conversations. Fourth, and this is huge, practice self-talk. Seriously, replay these scenes or even just narrate your own daily activities silently in your head throughout the day. When you're commuting, cooking dinner, walking the dog, pretend you're actually living these scenarios and commentating on them in English in real time.
So if I'm walking towards the grocery store, I could mentally run through the supermarket micro story before I even arrive, kind of priming myself for the real interaction. That sounds brilliant for building confidence.
Precisely. All these strategies work together to bridge that crucial gap between your passive vocabulary, all the words you understand when you read or hear them, and your active speech, the words you can actually pull out and use spontaneously and confidently when you talk. It gives those passive words a dynamic job inside a real situation, transforming them from things you just know into tools you can actually use. For instance, you might know the word prescription, but if you rarely use it, practicing the doctor scene makes it active, ready to go when you need it.
Still, it can be easy to get discouraged by mistakes sometimes, can it? Or to feel like you're not making progress fast enough. How do we keep that momentum going and not get too frustrated when we stumble or when that little mental stutter creeps back in occasionally?
That's such a crucial point to end on, really. It's absolutely vital to keep reminding yourself that making mistakes is not a problem. It's actually a natural, completely unavoidable, and frankly, necessary step on the path to fluency. You will forget words, you will mess up grammar sometimes, you will hesitate. And that's not just okay, it's actually expected. Think of it like constructive feedback from your brain, telling you where the path needs a bit more paving. Every single mistake is just practice. And every time you try, you're building confidence and strengthening those neural pathways. The key is to really adopt a growth mindset. Focus on communication, on getting your message across, rather than obsessing over perfect grammar every single time. Just keep going. Remember that every attempt, every little stumble, every small win, it's all genuine progress towards speaking more fluently.
Thinking in English, it really is a skill that grows over time, isn't it? Through that daily, consistent, smart practice, building confidence bit by bit. Microstories aren't just a simple trick. They're actually a remarkably powerful, cognitively smart tool to make that happen, to turn that passive knowledge into active, fluid speech.
Exactly. By vividly visualizing these scenes, by actively speaking the lines aloud, even whispering them, and by adapting them to fit your own life story,
Yeah.
you're actively retraining your brain. You're training it to bypass the translation step and think directly in English. And you will notice words and sentences starting to come to you more quickly. Your responses will become more automatic. Your conversations will start to feel much, much easier, more natural, and genuinely, well, effortless.
So here's our final provocative thought for you today. Don't wait for some perfect moment or until you feel ready. Start today. Right after you finish listening to this deep dive, just pick one of these micro stories. Take 2 minutes. Really imagine yourself in that cafe or the supermarket or the doctor's office. Speak the lines, then repeat it tomorrow. With each day, with each tiny, consistent effort, English will feel less and less like some subject you have to study and more like a language you actually live in. And that transformation, that shift from conscious analysis to unconscious intuition, that's the real key to truly chatting like a native.